Good morning, everybody. My name is Dale. I'm one of the pastors here at Redeemer Bible Church, and this is the Daily Word. We find ourselves in the book of Acts, chapter 22 today, so if you would open up your Bibles to that passage, or to that chapter, I should say, and we will begin. Before we begin, I wanted to set up the context here. Paul was arrested. He was in the temple. He's been arrested now. He's being walked out, and he says, hey, can I have your attention, please, here in verse 1. It's one of these like, hey, can I address you people? Listen to what he says in verse 1. Brothers and fathers, hear the defense that I now make before you. And when they heard that he was addressing them in the Hebrew language, they became even more quiet. And he said, I am a Jew. Now, they didn't know he was a Jew. They thought he was an Egyptian. This is the first of three identities Paul is going to claim in chapter 22 alone. I am a Jew. I am a Jew who was trained by the best rabbi. I am a Jew who was zealous for God to the point where I persecuted, killed, arrested men and women alike, Christians, the people of the way. I am a Jew who, on the road to Damascus to go persecute even more Christians, had an encounter with the living God. I'm a Jew who was confronted by Jesus. I'm a Jew who was asked, why are you persecuting me, Saul? I'm a Jew who went blind. I'm a Jew who had to be taken by the hand into a safe place. I'm a Jew who a New Testament prophet came to and prophesied over me and said, you are a chosen one to talk about the righteous one. Now get up and be baptized. So now Paul just claimed that I'm a Christian. So I'm a Jew and I'm a Christian. Let's read. Go down to verse 17. When I returned to Jerusalem and was praying in the temple, I fell into a trance and saw him saying to me, make haste and get out of Jerusalem quickly, because they will not accept your testimony about me. So, meaning like, I was here before. I was here, but the Lord told me to go. And I said, Lord, they themselves know that in one synagogue after another I imprisoned and beat those who believed in you. And when the blood of Stephen, your witness, was being shed, I myself was standing by and approving and watching over the garments of those who killed him. And he said to me, go, for I will send you far away to the Gentiles. So Paul is telling them, like, he's about to go into his missionary journeys here, and they're not going to have any more. They don't want to hear anymore. What happens? Up to this word, they listened to him. Then they raised their voices and said, away with such a fellow from the earth, for he should not be allowed to live. You know, when I read that, I'm reminded of Jesus' arrest. I'm reminded of the Jews arresting him for blasphemy. And now the Jews want Paul arrested for blasphemy because by their law and from where they're standing, he is being blasphemous. Even though he was one of them, he is now proclaiming to be somebody other than. Even though Paul held on to his Jewish lineage, he believed that he was a Jew, and he was. But now they couldn't stomach the fact that he was proclaiming to be a Christian. So identity number 2. So much so that they said this guy should not live. Very similar to even Pilate looking at the Jewish leaders back in Jesus' day and saying, hey, do you want me to release this murderer Barabbas, or do you want me to release Jesus? And them saying, release Barabbas. That man should be crucified for the blasphemy that he has committed. And this group of people are saying the same thing about Paul. They hand him over to the Romans. And then the Romans begin, seemingly before interrogation even, they bind him And they bring him to a room to interrogate him, which means they're going to flog him and ask him questions to get him to break, which is interesting because I don't know what they're trying to get him to break from. But Paul's about to reveal his third identity, which is what? Is it lawful for you to do this to a Roman? That was, in the context of where Paul was, and in the context of the time, that was the ultimate authority that any Roman soldier needed to hear to stop what he was doing. He was proclaiming, like, I'm one of you, and Romans don't do this to each other. So I'm a Jew, I'm a Christian, I'm a Roman. Paul knew that by proclaiming Roman citizenship, that he was not going to be beaten at that point, but that there was going to end up becoming a trial. And you'll read that. I think Pastor Costi next week will lead you into that journey. But as we've done all week, what I want to do is think about real quickly, what is our testimony in regards to our identity? So we're Americans, we're Arizonans, we're East Valley people, and whatever identity you want to hold on to. For me, I'm a Thackrah. Those identities never trump the call of the mission that God has given us, right? We would all agree with that. So Paul uses his identity for one purpose, to advance the gospel. Like, he's advancing the gospel every time he's proclaiming who he is. It's to get him where he wants to go. And I think there's something for us to see there. I think there's something for us to learn there, that we have an opportunity in our culture to leverage our identity, but not for our good or for our sake, for the ultimate sake of the gospel. So that's something maybe you can think about today as you think about this passage, or these passages, I should say, and just consider, what is my identity? And how can I leverage that identity for the advancement of the gospel? Thanks for joining me, guys. I had a good week with you. I look forward to being back with you in several weeks. And until then, be well, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.